If you sit up, he won't tickle you.
Use my muscles and my bones.
Hello, sweet peas. We're doing a little baby parenting Q&A. People had a lot of questions, which was nice. So if you guys wanted a part 2 to this, let me know. Just some like basic FAQs if you're here for the first time. My name is Morgan. My pronouns are she, her.
My name is Felix. My pronouns are they, them. You will hear Morgan and other people use he, him pronouns for me. That's fine. Don't be scared.
Yeah, it's like a little treat sometimes.
It's like it's hard to explain.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's fun.
We have a little baby who's about 6 months old.
Yes.
We don't share his face or his name on the internet,
Yeah.
but on the internet we call him Gonzo, or really anything that starts with the letter G.
Yeah.
Because he's little baby Goof. We go by mom and dad. We are a queer couple who had a trying to conceive journey for 2 years, which is going to be relevant to some of the questions people asked today.
Yes. Light, delicate content warning for miscarriage, because we had a pregnancy loss. Like, that's how our fertility journey kind of, like, kicked off. It was a huge fucking bummer, so...
We did an at-home insemination with a known donor, someone that both of us have known for a long time, someone that we trust. His identity is also a secret.
At-home insemination means that, like, there was a cup, and then the juice went into the cup, and then that juice went into a syringe, and then I put that syringe in Morgan. It does not mean that there was, like, boning happening.
No, this was not like an L-word situation.
It's the turkey baster method is what we did.
And then I got pregnant.
So it's kind of funny because I did get Morgan pregnant.
Yeah, after 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Took a minute.
Took some practicing. Perhaps you're familiar with practicing.
Perhaps.
With all of that basic information out of the way, I don't think there's anything else.
I'm sure it'll come up.
Right.
Whatever it is, that is going to be confusing.
TTC. If you didn't know, TTC means trying to conceive. It's just the journey of trying to get pregnant when you're trying to get pregnant on purpose. That's really all you need to know.
Yeah.
What was worse? Unhinged things people said while you're pregnant, or things that people say to you while you already have a baby?
Neither. It's things that people say to you when you're trying to conceive.
I was going to say the same thing.
Not so much worse. Everything is worse. Everything is annoying. Everything is hard to hear. Nothing makes you feel any better.
Everyone thinks they have the new secret that's going to fix your problem.
The most I've ever been treated with kid gloves in my life is as a parent taking my child to a pediatrician.
Yes.
The way that people are so delicate and kind and careful in the way that they ask questions and the way that... I'm talking about, like, medical professionals. The way that I have been treated with brass knuckles for gloves by the universe and also medical professionals is while trying to conceive. It's so rough. Morgan has some medical trauma and some, like, weird gaps in our, like, knowledge of her medical history. So we had to go to the emergency room a couple of times because Morgan has this, like, blood thing. It's fine. It's, like, fine.
It's fine. Essentially, all you need to know is, like, anytime they've taken my blood, ever, I think, but especially as an adult when I've, like, been in charge of myself.
Yeah.
My white blood cell count is always 17,000 or more.
Yeah.
And, like, what it's supposed to be is, like, around 10,000, I think.
I think 10,000 is high, even. Anyway, Morgan has a high white blood cell count, runs in her family, not something that's stressful, been checked by blood doctors, been checked by other doctors, totally fine. So we went to the emergency room a couple of times because we'd go to urgent care because something else was happening, and they'd be like, you need to go to the emergency room right now. So I feel like in our time on the internet, we've made some jokes about being like, we go to the emergency room every week. And it's like, one, we have medical debt from that is not pleasant. And then two, it was because we were told to go to the emergency room.
Right, and we're not doctors, so if the doctor says to go, we're going to go.
But so not just from, like, OBGYNs and fertility doctors and other people. The thing that, like, a regular run-of-the-mill doctor that you're seeing randomly, their, like, favorite phrase was like, oh, you just gotta relax. Like, you just gotta take some deep breaths.
It was
like,
always...
I had friends who were trying to get pregnant for 18 years, and it didn't ever happen for them until they just stopped trying. You just have to stop trying. And, like, I feel like there's now more of a chance that I would be perceived as someone who creates semen. At the time, wasn't happening.
Right.
For sure. So people were definitely looking at us and being like, you guys just need to stop scheduling for the semen to go in Morgan. Like, what do you mean?
What do you mean stop trying?
What do you mean stop trying?
We cannot get surprise pregnant. Which, at this point, now that we're not trying to get pregnant, is a blessing.
Yeah, it's like a cute little, like...
Because we're like, it won't be a surprise. We won't have a surprise little sibling.
No, because that will be really hard.
Which, like, happens and people are very happy, and I'm not complaining.
Pros and cons to everything. One silver lining for us.
Yes, is that we will get to plan when we at least start
we'll not
trying
be
to have a little
scared by
sibling.
two. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so many. And again, as Felix said, like the reproductive like doctors that we saw, nobody was ever like that.
No.
But yeah, like your general practitioners, your sister's friend who's a nurse, they were always for 2 years and some change
people
being
on the internet,
like,
oh my god,
just stop trying, just relax, and you'll get pregnant.
Also, it's hard to hear from people who have been going through both a shorter and a longer fertility journey than you. Every fertility journey is like so specific, so it was like very scary to hear from some people. Like if I tried to tell somebody who's been trying for 2 months, like, oh, we tried for like 2 years and finally got there, that would be so jarring to hear as somebody who's only on cycle 2.
Yeah.
And then also as people who have been trying for like, you know, a year and 8 months, for people to be like, oh, I tried for 5 years, to be like, ha ha ha, if that's a reality that ends up happening, maybe we'll get there and we'll be there.
It 1 month at a time.
But I was like, I cannot fathom. Our therapist had a conversation with us where she was like, I feel like now is a time where I can tell you guys are ready to hear that like the average amount of time that it takes for a fertility journey is, what did she say, was it 2 years or 4 years?
I think she said 3 to 5.
Yeah, and I
like
literally, my eyes, I was like, I actually think I wasn't ready to hear that yet. Like that was not.
I was more ready to hear it then than I was right after.
Yes, but it's a lot.
For context, the way that our 2-year fertility journey happened is we got married in September. Well, we had a wedding in September of 2021. We decided to start trying in November. Yeah. We got pregnant that very first cycle, and we miscarried that same cycle.
Yeah.
And then we had a 2-year, almost exactly 2-year fertility journey.
Yeah.
And now we have a cute little crazy baby. Yeah. For sure, the most unprecedented, unhinged, jaw-dropping things people said were way more while we were trying to get pregnant.
Yeah, we also spent 4 times as long trying to get pregnant as we've spent as parents. So
that's true.
I think that's probably relevant. So I'm sure it'll get much worse in terms of like things people say about your baby and other things. But right now, what feels most relevant for sure, because we've just
it's also because we don't share our baby on the internet. I think
that is true. That is true.
So strangers,
we shared a lot.
But we shared a lot about our pregnancy,
fertility journey,
because it was just about yeah. Are there resources you would recommend for coping with pregnancy loss and trying to conceive?
Yes, if you are interested in getting a hyperfixation about fertility and feeling
just teaching yourself how to be a fertility doctor.
Just teaching. I definitely could not be a fertility doctor. Like, there's no way. There's Fertility Docs Uncensored is a podcast that I really liked. They're a little bit fatphobic and a little bit what?
Just
they like the things that they talk about almost never have to do with queer people. So I would say like
know that going in.
Know that they have a couple of episodes that are like weight loss or fertility and like other things like that. But there's a lot of like base level knowledge things like that. God!
He's not a spider!
He is! I'm being spidered. I'm being spidered on. Thank you. Lordy. Other people found a lot of like comfort in like Facebook groups and like Reddit pages and other things like that. Wasn't helpful to me.
It was at first to me. Mm-hmm. Not for long though.
Anything that you get fixated on and then it becomes something that you're like obsessively doing, stop doing that, because it won't help. It'll make your brain hurt harder.
Yeah, I would say resources for what you're going through. I don't have any other ones. What I will say we found to be a hack is to get really into something that has a lot of lore that you can focus on.
Yeah.
And for us, we tried many things.
Sister Wives won, though.
Sister Wives, by far, won. We have gotten
so many seasons.
There's so many seasons. There's also like some of the people who were on the show have their own Patreons you can subscribe to. We haven't, but you can.
Yeah.
But we got so into that. We got very into Love is Blind for a little bit. There's just like...
Yeah, those really helped. But those are also big, like, coping with pregnancy loss.
We also like would have, and it depends on your, like, mental health and your financial situation, but we would also be like, okay, if we're not pregnant by March, then I think we start seriously looking into going on vacation.
Yeah.
Or like if we're not pregnant by November, I think we buy ourselves a new
Trying to conceive is a way to get yourself in credit card debt.
That's so true.
For sure. We got tattoos about our pregnancy loss.
We did. I do feel like it helps a lot.
It helped a lot. I think it was really nice.
And therapy was the number one thing I would recommend.
Huge, big therapy, yes.
Huge, capital T, so capital H.
Much. Also making art, even if it's bad art.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
I think that
really Felix did an entire art show.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it helped? Do you feel like it made it worse?
I feel like it helped. I feel like it
was
helped.
Really cool.
It was fun. I learned how to punch needle. And then...
Yeah, learn a new skill.
Yeah. And then I made an art show out of punch needle stuff. So it was... Which is also fun because I was calling it stabby crafts. Like embroidery and sewing and punch needle.
The last thing I would say about that is just like... talking to your friends, but also... It is okay if you have a friend who got pregnant in 2 minutes and you can be happy for them. But if you spend less time with them, that is so fair.
And even if they don't understand it.
Yeah.
If you need to take a step back, maybe you can't explain that to them yet. Maybe that person's going to have secondary infertility where they have a harder time with their second kid, and then they come to you and they're like, I cannot believe what I accidentally did to you. Any amount of time you need to take from holiday. We were going to not go to Christmas last year.
Yeah.
We literally were like,
because
2 Christmases ago, we were like, I cannot do another family Christmas. Like, I am not physically, emotionally able to do that without a baby.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
Now, in this moment.
We might have, but we very seriously talked about, if we're not pregnant by this Christmas last year.
Yeah.
Then we were like, I don't know if I can go. Like, I am too... It felt like everyone we knew was getting pregnant.
Yes.
And we weren't.
Yes.
And like, this isn't a resource, I guess. It's more like advice. But like, that would have been fine.
Yeah.
If anybody in your life is like shitty to you because of that, they're just... lucky enough to not get it.
Yeah.
Someone said, currently TTC, how was the transition between wanting to be parents and then actually being ones? It's amazing. We have talked about it a lot with each other, but it's like, I don't want to say that I'm grateful for our like infertility journey. I won't ever know what it was like, what it would have been like to not have one, basically. So I won't ever know any different. But what I will say is that like, I know that I know in my heart of hearts this is absolutely what I wanted the whole time, and it's really nice to be like right. You know what I mean? Like everything that he does, I'm like
validated.
So validated. I'm like, this was the right decision. And it's something I've always wanted, and it's something we've always talked about.
I think the closest thing for me that I could compare it to that might make sense for other people is we were living our best lives at Disney World in Florida, and then the pandemic happened, and then we moved here to Oregon, which is like my home state, and it wasn't something that we would have done otherwise. And we were like not forced out, as in like it was illegal for us to be there. No.
We did not choose to leave, really.
Yeah, no.
We didn't have another
option. It was
option.
thrust upon us that like the experience of leaving and the like obviously the pandemic happening. I wouldn't say I'm glad that those things happened.
No.
In any way, shape, or form. I do look back on that time where I didn't have a job for 3 months and was calling Florida unemployment and watching movies with my roommates every day. We were having movie club. Like, I look back on it very fondly with rose-colored glasses, even though I was crying the entire time. And I think that's kind of how I think about our fertility journey now, because I'm like, oh, like we like made our
very similar
fruit mural, and like we like bought our stockings that we're using this year, and like kind of these like other things where I'm like, this is stuff that we had time to do. And things we had time to work through in therapy. Like I'm now like grateful for that time, not for those like circumstances.
Yeah.
And also if you'd asked me in the moment, obviously, would you rather be a parent right now or have years of trying really hard to get something that you want? I would have said I want to be a parent right now. Like you did. It was so awful.
It was so awful what was happening.
Awful.
It's very similar to that. We talk on stream all the time about how like we now look back on like the quarantine part of the pandemic.
Yeah, as anyone does.
And there were so many awful things happening. But like looking back also now, you're like, oh man, I really got to talk to my friends a lot more. Like, oh man, like remember when everyone in the world, it felt like, was playing Animal Crossing? Like we haven't had anything like that. Yeah. I think it's very similar to that, where it's like now we're looking back and we're like,
this thing was cool.
Remember when we went on a cruise because we were like, haha, if I don't have something to look forward to soon, I'm gonna go insane.
Yeah.
And like we just went into debt to have a nice vacation.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Basically I would say the short answer, now that I've talked so much, is the transition has been
not bad.
No, it really hasn't been. It's been so cool, so worth it. We are more tired than we've ever been in our lives.
Yeah, I can't imagine this accidentally happening to someone. So kudos to parents who did not.
It has certainly made me more. All of it's made me more pro-choice than ever.
Yeah. Holy shit. Yeah.
Nobody should be doing any parts of this pregnancy or if they don't want to. Anything you wish you had known earlier / would have been helpful to know earlier.
I feel like we're figuring it out.
I feel like
Morgan knows a lot.
Yeah, that's true. I've spent a lot of time with babies younger than 3. So I knew a lot of things beforehand.
I didn't know about babies sharding.
Yeah.
I didn't know that diaper rash is primarily caused by babysitting in a poop diaper, and that freshly born babies can have a little fart that's just got a little bit of poop in it. So I feel like our baby had a mystery diaper rash where I just kept being I am changing these diapers, and I was so quickly as soon as I was
we changed his diaper every hour,
but less than that. It was every 45 minutes, but it was a little secret, little tiny secret poop particles that were making his little butt hurt, and he wasn't upset about it. No. But I was upset about it. Anyway,
I would say, again, this is something that I knew, but something that I think a lot of people don't know. Babies are much sturdier than they look. And you're still supposed to support their head and stuff when you're holding them. But some people in the house were afraid to pick them up.
No. I did hold. It's not that I didn't pick him up.
No, but you were.
I was just incredibly anxious.
You were really stressed out.
That was going to happen no matter what.
Yeah. Sure. Babies are built to survive new parents. That's true. That's something that I feel like more people should hear before their baby gets here. Biggest advice for couples who know they want kiddos but don't know when. How did you know you wanted kids and were ready to be parents? I don't think there's ever a time when you're ready.
How could you ever be ready?
A little bit. And obviously, if you have the ability to plan, it would be nice, I would say, to take a little bit of time, make sure you've done a couple of things, just the two of you guys, that maybe you always wanted to do or whatever. And maybe not. I think that's the other thing is
it really depends on the
couple. Depends on you guys.
And you just need to both be on the same page.
Yes.
That's kind of the most important thing. If one person is not on the same page and you're not in a place where you can be honest enough with each other for that person to be I'm not on the same page. Yeah. Or I'm way more than ready and I need you to catch up. You should just be having honest conversations.
Yeah.
Because it's also if it's something where it's how much money should we save before? How many vacations should we go on by ourselves? How long should we be together? It's so dependent on literally you personally.
I would say,
also, no one ever has enough money or enough time to have children. So I wouldn't do that at all. Don't worry so much about that. If for some reason you are very in debt and that within the next year and a half, you'll very quickly be out of debt, then I would say maybe wait that. But again, do you see it's super...
You never
You've no idea. No.
I would say ideally be saving a little money if you can beforehand.
I feel
but again...
We weren't really able to.
We weren't really able to. Also, it depends on where you live. It depends on what your jobs are, how stable your jobs are. Yeah. The only thing that I think you should do before you have a kid is be really, really good at communicating. As good as you think you can ever be, because you got to learn how to do it pretty quick.
It's not even if you're able to go to therapy together as a family, or the two of you, or you know what I mean, that is, I would say, is crucial.
It's gonna be a repeating,
because it's gonna be an ongoing. I feel like we're really solid communicators, but there's just other things that come up.
It's when you haven't slept in 4 days, quite literally.
Yeah.
And we've never been mean to each other,
no.
mean-spirited.
I'm kind of a bitch, though.
But it is
I've got more of an Eeyore quality about me, I would say, in this era of my life.
I've got more of a Tigger quality.
Yes,
that's true.
And sometimes that's annoying to each other. It's not the other person's fault. But I don't feel
You have not suddenly become a morning person, that's for sure.
No, and I think the other thing is that as somebody who has a certain level of happy-go-lucky vibes I'm able to bring to an interaction in a day when I'm this fucking tired all the time, I'm using all of that towards the little tiny person who didn't decide to be here, and also I would never blame for any, and you know what I mean. So it's like, yeah, it's as I have the most energy to be kind to the baby, so sometimes I'm doing more snapping. This is the most I've ever snapped at you, I think.
That's true.
And I don't feel like I did it a ton before.
No. Yeah.
That's hard.
Well, it's hard because it's like, what's going to fix it isn't about 8 years when you can sleep completely of your own and have no one else wake you or need you.
I don't even think that'll be true in 8 years.
No, maybe 10 years.
Maybe 15. And that's okay.
That's what we signed up for.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. And I'm so stoked about it.
Which parts of parenting were better than people made it out to be and which are worse? I would say the parts that are worse than people made it out to be depends on the person. I would say for me personally, like pumping and like intrusive thoughts. And I had intrusive thoughts before. I feel like they were much more like, what? Like, that'd be so crazy. I'm picturing a little too much, but it'd be so great. That would never happen.
Yeah.
And having a baby in your arms, and it'll make no sense. I'll be in my own home and I'll be like, what if I trip and fall into a chainsaw that's secretly hidden around the corner?
Yeah.
And like, that's never happened.
Yeah.
To anyone outside of the Evil Dead series.
Right.
But like, they are much more vivid, and that is hard. And I don't know how it feels for everyone, I guess. I don't know if everyone feels that way. I am on medication, which I think helps also. But
if it was something that was so seriously bothersome to you that it was like becoming an issue or a problem, it would be a different conversation that we would be having about this. But I think
it's one we continue to have with each other just so the other person can be like, you're not crazy.
Yeah.
But obviously, like, we both know logically.
Yeah.
There's no chainsaw around the corner, right? And it's like, right. I just need to hear someone else say it. Right.
Yeah.
I would say that is much... I can, like, if I think about it for too hard, I will cry.
Yeah.
And there's no chainsaw around the corner, you know what I mean?
No.
That's much harder than I thought it would be, and I don't know if it gets better.
Yeah, I watched a documentary about whales while I was home with the baby, and I just didn't know there was going to be orcas in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a mother whale with a baby whale, and she put the baby whale like up on her tummy to try to save... I can't talk about it.
The baby didn't make it.
The baby did not make it. And I've never been not okay at a nature documentary before. I've never been like... It was hard.
Yeah.
And so I feel like now I'm watching things through a lens that is different, and also like any of the content in the media that I'm consuming, anytime there's a child in it or a parent death, or it's much more difficult.
Yeah, I would say also in general thinking about my own health is
so much scarier.
It's not that it's harder, it's that the stakes are higher.
Yes.
So like I haven't been using my CPAP for like a year. I don't feel bad.
Yeah.
It was hard to wear while I was pregnant. Maybe it's not for everyone. And then it like hadn't been used in like 6 months, so I didn't want to use it for a while. And now I've like cleaned it and I'm using it again. But anyway, because I'm like, I need to be doing everything I can.
Yeah.
The part that's easier?
The sleep deprivation, actually. And that's not fun. And that's certainly my least favorite
I don't
part.
know. That's so funny that you say that. Go ahead.
At the beginning.
Was easier?
Was easier because I feel like I was so excited. All I had heard
That's true, yeah.
was like, this is going to be the worst thing that you've ever experienced, how tired you are. And then I was just like, it was like being in Disneyland. It was like, there's a little baby here, you know?
Yeah, I would say the part that's been easier is and maybe this will change, or maybe it's because we've been in therapy, but so many people I know who are like, I'm not going to like spank my kid. I would never even think about that. And then later are like, because I was spanked, it's like something I have to suppress. Does that make sense? Like childhood trauma coming up.
Yeah.
It is relevant. But I think because we did a lot of work in therapy before Gonzo ever got here, it's been much easier. Like there are certainly thoughts where I'm like, I love this baby so much. How can anyone create a person and not be so obsessed with everything they do? And that is hard, but it has been much easier than I anticipated, which is nice. Is there anything you wish you two did prior to getting pregnant, prior to being parents?
No.
Yeah, there's nothing.
We had a lot of time.
What?
We had a lot of time.
Oh.
What do you think I said?
I don't know what I thought you said. Anyway.
We painted a whole mural.
Yeah, we painted a whole mural. We got our artist
friend to paint a mural.
I wish I won the lottery.
Yeah. Before. Not anything that we can control.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
Top surgery. And I, again, couldn't really control that one.
No. Although I'm glad you didn't have it with him smaller or with him older.
Yes.
If it had to happen after he was born, I do feel like it was the best
the perfect
time.
Yeah, but it was not. No, it was pleasant.
What rules did you give people who wanted to visit during the newborn time?
We had a little pamphlet that we made.
Yeah, we passed it out at our baby showers.
Yes. I also was changing my name at that time.
Yeah, so it was kind of a hard launch for your name.
Yes. And then, it was like, anybody, we'll let you guys know when people can come to the hospital. We were very comfortable with people visiting the hospital because that's like a very clinical setting where it was very easy to be like, haha, you have to have a mask on. You cannot kiss the baby. You have to wash your hands. It
was also easy because the nurses were so incredible.
Yeah, they were.
Shout out to Casey. Shout out to Libby.
Yeah.
Shout out to all of our nurses, but especially Casey and Libby. Because they were like, if you want us to kick people out, we can.
Yeah.
Like, if you want us to be the bad guys, we can. I didn't know if I would actually want people to be there, but I knew that I wanted to try to have people there. And I really liked it, actually. I'm very extroverted, so I loved people coming in.
Not everyone loved it as much.
Yeah. The baby loved it, I think.
He
was asleep.
He was sleeping.
Yeah, so we were like, these are the rules for the hospital. These are the rules for after the hospital.
We also were like, we will quite literally not be seeing anyone for the first 8 weeks. So if you want to see us, like when he like gets here, it's the hospital and not after that. And then we said we would like schedule a hang with great grandparents individually.
Everyone we knew wore masks until he was like 10-ish weeks old, after he got at least his first vaccinations.
Yeah.
And until probably his first year, anytime someone we know goes on like vacation, we make them wear a mask around him.
Yeah.
Just because like
also a lot of common sense things. Like I feel like we trust the people that we have around us to be like, I'm not feeling well.
Yes.
Or like, I just went and did such and such, or I saw someone who is such and such.
And so far everyone has done that.
Yes. Yeah, I think something that is hard, the people who are going to push those boundaries may or may not be people that like, they're not thinking about it. Does that make sense? I feel like it's hardest to hold a boundary when it's someone who you love so much and they just aren't hearing you in what you're saying, and also they clearly love you, they clearly love the baby. It can be hard.
Yeah,
I guess is really all I need to say.
From someone that's on the fence about having kids, what's it really like, honestly?
I would say if you are on the fence, don't do it.
I would too.
I would say it is really like, and I love it. I want to be like so crystal clear. I love it, but it is like 10 p.m. and I'm so tired because I only had like 5 hours of sleep in the past like 24 hours. And so I'm like, okay, the baby sleeping. I'm going to put my head down on this pillow. The baby's been asleep for 20 minutes. He's going to sleep for another like 2 hours. We'll both sleep and then I'll wake up and like feed him and change him and we'll like do all these things. My head touches the pillow. I lay there for 5 minutes. I'm just about to like doze off into dreamland. And then the baby is awake and like needs me. And there's not anything that I can do to circumvent that. Yeah. Sometimes I'll be like, shh, 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 and we're tired and we're sleepy. Never works.
No.
Not one time has it worked. And it's like, it's because he's hungry or wants to hang out or he just needs somebody to hold him so that he falls back asleep. Like, and that is a little tiny person who we are in charge of. And we decided was going to be here. And I'm obsessed with him. He's my favorite person.
I'm never angry when those things happen.
I'm never
But I
angry.
am so tired.
But there is this like,
there's a lot of that.
And it's never at him, never towards him, never while he's looking. And it's not his fault.
I would say, yeah, if you're someone who's on the fence, I feel like that. And I could be wrong. I don't know you. I don't know anybody who feels this way.
Yeah.
Absolutely comment if you're like, oh, well, I'm on the fence for these reasons. Like, it's so fair. I'm just a guy that you asked a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would also say if you're on the fence, I think that means don't do it. It's quite literally, like, for the next at least like 20 years, we cannot and will not be able to put ourselves first
at all.
We don't eat like really hot meals anymore.
Not even really slightly. If they're hot, it's because they've been in the oven for the past 10 minutes on the warm setting.
And actually,
which is a hack, by the way.
we are at a huge
time.
No, we don't eat at the same time.
We don't sleep at the same time.
No, we don't. We haven't slept in the same bed since the baby's been born.
Yeah.
And we are like at a huge place of privilege because we work here at home and make our own schedule. Yes. And we live in a multi-generational home. Yes. So like Felix's parents live upstairs.
Like right now, Mimi is hanging out with the baby.
So that we can work and do this. Yeah. And like, so we have all the privilege in the world. Yeah. And like, it's great.
We don't have like a job that we're headed back to.
Yeah. And like that makes a lot of these things easier, and they are still so
hard. We're not paying for daycare. Like we're not, like there's, It is the most anxious you have ever been in your entire life.
It's the most anxious, most tired, most inconsistent anything. It's so hard to like plan anything.
Yes.
Because people will be like, oh, I'd love to like come over and like watch this movie. And I'm like, okay. He'll wake up between 7 and 9, and then he'll need a nap sometime between 9 and 11, and then sometime. And to be fair, like our baby, we don't like try to put on a schedule. Some people do. Yeah. I don't have big feelings about it. There was no reason to put our baby on a schedule, so he makes the rules around here.
We do like lights out in the house at like.
That's true. Yeah.
8ish.
Yeah, like 7:38.
Lights on at like.
Whenever he wakes up.
Yeah.
We've seen like our core like 4 friends fairly often. Yeah. And that's only because they are very like.
Super vibey.
Very vibey, very responsible. They're fine with just coming to our house, and we all talk about what we did that week.
But if you have a friend group who...
If you have a D&D group, you'll never see them again.
Never again.
If you have a book club, no, you don't.
No.
Yeah, no. And, like, maybe that's not true. You know what I mean? It depends on, like, your community. But, and again, like, we're obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Every time he's, like, crying and upset, I'm still, like... He's awake and he wants to hang out.
We did not have like a difficult postpartum experience.
We really didn't. We had a difficult post-op surgery experience.
That was so bad.
Yeah.
That was so bad.
We made it.
We sure did.
It's hard.
It's brutal.
It's brutal.
Birth is brutal. All of it's brutal. And slays.
And it's also so fun.
It's also our favorite thing we've ever done.
We love it so. And I would hear people say things like that, and I'd be like, okay.
All right.
But it's so true. Yeah. It's kind of like, you know how, like, this is the closest I can think of. I hear people talking about how it has been their dream to train and do one of those, like, Ironman marathons where you have to, like, throw 50 cars over your head and then run through the mud and then, like, shoot a duck or what. I don't remember. You have to do, like, a zillion things. Yeah. And it sounds so horrible. And people do it and they're like, that was amazing. Like, you know, I got this medal and I'm, like, one of only 200 people who've ever done this or whatever. And it's, like, people who do those, like, really cuckoo bananas things. And I'm like, that sounds like hell. And I'm so glad that you're happy. That sounds horrible. It's a lot, but it's amazing.
But we love it.
Yeah. Do you become more tolerant to bodily fluids, gunk, whatever, after having a baby?
Yeah. I would say yeah. I could not have fathomed how much I would be peed on. I think it's different depending on what like genital style your baby has, but we have the kind that sort of pain pees on you. Initially, a lot, not as much now at like 6 months, but right off the bat, so much.
Yeah. I didn't realize the level of spit up I would actually allow to be on a shirt.
Yes.
Before I was like, maybe I should change this.
Yeah.
And I'm like being so for real. That's how like, it is.
Yeah.
Neither of us were particularly, when it came to other people's babies, neither of us were like,
I would never be like, this guy's gross. I do hate to be damp.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like, my top half, it's going to be damp.
Yeah. It's just kind of always damp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm dry, it's because for some reason
because we're working right now.
Yeah. With the baby.
Yeah, you definitely become more tolerant. I would say to everything.
It's her favorite time of the day. Is to kiss his cheek first.
I have 2 favorite times of the day. It's the 2 minutes right after he wakes up when I can kiss his cheeks and they're completely dry.
There's no saliva, no throw up, no weird milk.
And my other favorite time is about the 6 minutes after I get out of the shower before he throws up on me.
Yeah, it's the cleanest you will be all day.
It's amazing. And I'm like, yeah.
We have a picture of where it was like bouncing when he threw up. And it's like so much spit up in Morgan's hair. It's like streaked.
I also just showered, I think, that morning.
Yeah, and Morgan's so she's like holding him and I took a picture. So funny.
Yeah. You definitely, it becomes was fun.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. It's like a meme every time he poops.
That's so true.
I'm like, yo, what the fuck? It's crazy. Yeah, one time he was crying and so sad and so upset, and I was trying to bounce him to sleep, and he just wouldn't fall asleep, and then I handed him to Morgan, and then he like calms down, looks at me and goes, I was like, oh, he's evil now.
Yeah, sometimes he's evil.
He became evil.
Yeah, evil's in his heritage.
Yeah.
Advice for lower income folks who want kids. I feel like I can't have one till I have money.
I disagree. I don't feel like that's the thing. Here's the deal. You guys heard that, like, the Resilient Johnsons or whoever the fuck it is on TikTok?
No.
Oh my god, it was like this whole controversy. They, like, live in, like, a 2-bedroom apartment and they have, like, 7 children and, like, 1 on the way. I don't know anything about them. The thing people keep on saying, the reason it's relevant.
Go ahead.
The thing people keep on saying about that is, like, if the kids had the bedroom and the parents were sleeping in the living room. Do you see what I'm saying? There's all of these things that you can do. Kids have grown up low income for many, many years. One of the dearest people who I love most in the world is a kid who grew up like very, very, very low income with like parents who love them so much. And that person had a significantly better childhood than you did, who grew up.
That's true.
Like low-key wealthy. So I would say I don't think that you need to have money to have kids.
What I will say is, like, what our therapist would say all the time is, like, what's most important to kids is feeling, like, loved and seen and heard.
And cared for and safe. And, like, if you're able, the time that you spend with them is quality time.
Yes.
I think is important.
If you're really there when you're there.
Yeah. I don't think being low income makes people bad parents.
No.
I don't think that being...
It makes sense you'd be concerned about it. I think that's super normal.
I think that is a sign.
I was going to say that.
That it's going to be great.
Yeah. The other thing I would say as far as resources, depends on where you live, but, like, look into anything your state offers.
Yeah.
Because we are on Oregon Health Plan, which is like the Affordable Care Act for Oregon.
In Oregon, yeah.
Because we're self-employed, we're in like the correct income bracket for it.
Yeah.
So like I didn't have to pay. Yeah, I didn't have to pay anything to give birth. We're on WIC.
I think we could be on SNAP.
Yeah, we haven't applied.
We definitely qualify for free, like preschool, depending on where you live. Look into what resources there are.
Also, take advantage of capitalism where you can.
Yeah.
So like I know Amazon for sure, if you make a baby registry with them and then you or someone buys like I think $20 worth of things off of that registry, they'll send you a whole box filled with free stuff. My sister-in-law in Alabama went to a class that was like free to learn like baby CPR that the hospital put on, and they gave her like a huge, she was her and one other girl were the only people to show up, and so they both got like a huge gift basket of like diapers and wipes and like other things.
Yeah, we didn't have to buy diapers for the first like I don't even know, like 3 months.
Yeah, because people
have ask people to buy diapers.
Ask people to buy diapers. Yeah, that's the other thing I would say. If you're low income, babies really don't need that much stuff. Yeah. I know we did a baby favorites video, and we said like several times in that video, like we're not very product focused as like a channel. Yeah. This is just like...
His favorite toy is wet burp cloth.
His second favorite toy is reusable Starbucks cup.
His third favorite toy is my knuckles.
Yes.
To chomp on. Like, it's not like he does...
What your baby needs is diapers.
And wipes. Parents who care.
And food and parents
them.
Who care.
Yeah. Oh, also, stay on your buy nothing...
Yeah.
And like Facebook Marketplace.
Stay on Facebook Marketplace.
Stay on it because there are all these people who are going to be like free diapers or free whatever.
Yes,
free,
all
or
the
like
time.
Got this formula in bulk and then I'm not going to end up using it. Like all these kinds of things. And we are very lucky to have a baby who doesn't have specific like allergy needs in terms of formula or in terms of like products.
Yeah.
Like diapers.
We don't need like special diaper cream or.
There's Salem Cloth Project. Where we live is like a cloth diapers project that like people apply and they get given cloth diapers and cloth diaper education like for free because cloth diapers are expensive. There's just all of these things. People want you to do well as a parent. So, you know.
People, want you to succeed.
Look for those.
Also ask your friends who have kids, your aunt who has kids, like ask anyone to be like, haha, is there anything you need?
Also, when you are pregnant, people will try to give you so much baby clothes, so many baby furniture, all these kinds of things because there are things that are expensive but a lot of them last a really long time.
Yeah.
Obviously don't, take somebody's like baby like car seat necessarily. Like there's some things that are really important that you get new. Also baby clothes. There's just so much baby products that exist in the world
that are already there. They already exist.
Sold secondhand, especially because they don't get used very much.
Oh, something else I was going to say. Something that it's kind of a lot of money buying into it, but we have started like a cloth diaper journey.
Oh, yes. It
really hasn't been as bad as we thought.
No, I didn't think it was going to be bad. I love it.
And it really is going to save money in the long run.
So much
It is kind of expensive at first because you have to buy them, but you can buy them, at least our Once Upon a Child has them, or like any kids, like consignment, resale, whatever, or look on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
And it seems kind of...
They also, the kind that we have, which I think is the kind that most of them are, is they just have
nowadays,
a bunch of snaps, and so they are all the size that
they fit from like newborn to like 3 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're having the same amount of blowouts that we have with disposable diapers. Like, I feel like they're great.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. We've done a couple of like wash cycles. We'll have a video coming out about that. That's like a short form one. And then somebody asked later, so we can talk about it more specifically.
Yes.
But that one saves
I would say, yeah, that's something you should definitely look into if you're like lower income. Is there anything you do differently next time around? The only thing we're definitely going to do differently is in the hospital. Because we're brand new parents, we were very much Jim and Pam being like, no, don't take the baby to the nursery. Like, we want to keep the baby. Like, let us. And so we did not sleep in the hospital. I would say, because we were just listening to everything everyone said at the hospital. And I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to them, but I think this next go round, I'll be like, oh, I'm skipping my next pump. Please tell no one to come in here.
Oh, yeah.
For the whole 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like, is there any way someone can not check my blood pressure just once?
Yeah.
Can we skip it so I can get a solid 3 hours of sleep?
Yeah.
Because I didn't sleep more than like 40 minutes at a time the entire hospital stay. And everybody was so nice and I'm obsessed with them. But like, because I'm the new parent and I'm so scared, like I was terrified every time the baby left the room. And I think the second time around, I'll be like, see ya.
Yeah.
They check your little bracelet to make sure it's the same baby like 100 zillion times.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm also going to rest a lot more.
While pregnant?
Both.
Yes. Yeah.
That's my own fault. Hey, and that's my bad.
Girl, and I tried to tell you.
I know, girl, but I was too excited. I don't know if I'll rest much more while pregnant. Number one, because we'll have a toddler. Number two, like I am so type A and I love being pregnant. I loved getting things ready.
I think
so
we might
much.
keep it a secret from the internet.
The whole time?
Just for way longer.
Probably for longer, yeah. Well, I can't really keep secrets. So.
Maybe we'll just post less about it.
That's probably true. We'll probably make less content.
Exhausting.
Hashtag content.
Hashtag.
I would say, yeah, nothing I would do differently with like the baby.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe we'll cloth diaper earlier.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, umbilical cords are so weird. That's the only thing that I think still creeps me out. I like cutting the cord when it's like on the
I wish I
baby
had seen you cut the cord.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's hard.
I know, but I don't think I can. I don't think they could have brought... But I think I could have asked them to take a video.
Yeah, that's
which I think
true.
I might do next time.
Right.
I also... Nobody asked this about, like, pregnancy. You can watch our entire birth story vlog. I'll link it below if you'd like to. But I had a C-section. That's the relevant part. Definitely still having C-section a second time. Just it'll be planned. So that's kind of cool. How did you set up the no baby online boundary with family? Did everyone respect it? Oh, we kind of talked about that.
No. So that was actually also part of the pamphlet. I completely forgot that was part of it because they were asking. Anyway, we had like a mood board of like pictures that are fine and like the style of pictures. It really hasn't been relevant in terms of like the people who see us all the time are like very close chosen family.
Yeah.
Who are like, you know.
None of them are content creators.
Yeah.
I would say of all of them, Hannah's probably the only one who sometimes posts on Instagram.
Yeah, none of them are really very social media-y.
No.
In general. But
so it really hasn't mattered that much.
Yeah, no. But also, I think because it's something that we've talked about so much and also because we're on the internet and like our job is super weird, like it's something that our people who see us and take pictures of him and are like around him are like way more likely to be like, is it all right if I do XYZ about something? Very cute. Like Lemon one time, or Hannah maybe, was like, is it okay if I show this photo to my... And I'm like, yeah, because it's not about that. Like, it's about it like being on the internet.
We just don't want anything like easily accessible. So certainly like...
We don't want someone to be able to Google CouplaGoofs baby and have images of him come up, or like CouplaGoofs baby name, and like, you know what I mean?
Right. I'm sure that in the background of some video at some point you're going to see his name or his face or something. There's no way that won't happen.
Yeah, a reflection of something.
Right. We just try our best to like make it hard.
We're minimizing that as much as we can.
Yeah.
but nobody's given us any pushback about it.
No.
I was afraid we were going to have to give some pushback for like family photos with like our like big extended family of people who are like related to me. He doesn't really turn around. Like I think the only ones that I've seen, literally he's already like not facing us, and I'm just not going to make my baby pose.
I think the other thing is, at least right now, you would have to work so hard to find like Felix's second cousin's Instagram and then scroll to where it's a giant family photo and zoom in. Like now I'm not making anyone like block him out or anything. It would be so much work for someone to try to find him. Now, if we got way more popular or people were being creepy, then like maybe we'd have that conversation. But yeah, like it's not.
It's been kind of a non-issue. Yeah. It was like a hard boundary we set at first that we've not really had to come back to.
Yeah.
I can imagine it would be much more difficult if you're someone whose job is not on the internet and you don't have like family out with you in public when you go grocery shopping, and then have people come up to you and be like, "Oh my God, I know you from such and such." So I have to say, I think we may be having a unique experience there, where like I don't think anyone my family is all nice. Even some of the ones who believe very different things than us, like they're generally considerate people. And two, I could see it being much harder for you to just be like a person who has a Facebook page and to be like, I don't want you to post pictures of my baby, and then to have your mom or like whoever be like, let me post pictures of my grandbaby. Like that would be hard.
Yeah.
Oh, and also, sorry, we don't post pictures of him, obviously, but we got those little like frame, all kinds of digital frame things, whatever, where you get like an app and you upload pictures to it for great grandparents who are on social media or whatever and want to be able to see the baby on a very regular basis. We just got those for them. That way we can just send them pictures.
And we do like every day.
Yeah, like I would say probably every like 4 days they get like a tiny photo dump of pictures of the baby.
Yeah, it makes sense. People, I created a group chat of like my sister-in-law and my mother-in-law and like my friends who were like most
baby focused,
want to know every single time he does something new.
Yeah.
And I just text them pictures all day.
Yeah.
It's like a teeny tiny close friend story.
Yeah.
What's the most hired parent thing you've done so far? I have two.
Okay.
One is of you though.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one, you probably already heard both of these. The first one is we had been home maybe like 2 days, and Felix like woke me up and like from my nap, and they were like, "Hey, like I really need to sleep. Can you come watch him?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I get up and I sit up in the bed.
It was literally like
my eyes are still closed, and I'm like this. And Felix goes, "Morgan," and I go, "I'm almost done," because I was breastfeeding the pillow.
It was so, and I was like, okay. And it was just something about like the pose, like the way in which you were sitting. I could tell you were breastfeeding the pillow, but I was like,
my boob was out.
Yeah, that's true. I was like, I'll come back.
The other one of Felix, this is my favorite.
Yeah.
Is that I asked them to make me a coffee before we were gonna
I forgot about this.
film something.
Yeah.
we had to work. I don't remember what we were filming.
Yeah.
But I was so tired, and I said, "Can you please bring me a coffee?" Because they were making themselves one. I don't remember why.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Yeah," and they bring me just a straw. And I go, "Okay, thank you for the straw." Do I have coffee?
I think I had made it. I think it was
you just brought me. It's like you got it out of the...
Yeah, it was like I had your coffee on the counter. I had like my coffee. I got you a straw, and I was like, "God, take this to Morgan." And I just gave you the straw. We laughed so hard.
We laughed a lot. I will say, being really sleep deprived, everything's silly.
It does get silly.
Everything's also kind of annoying, but everything's also silly. What were you gonna say?
I think those are like the two main ones. That and the like
the drawer.
Out the drawer thing. We already told that story.
We have told that
story. The drawer was so much.
Someone said my sister is extra mean when she's pregnant. Is that normal or is it just her? I'm trying to be graceful.
You are so brave.
You are so brave.
It is so normal.
It's so normal. It's so hard to be pregnant. Everyone's pregnancy is so different, and it's different with the same person, but different pregnancies. What I will say about my one full-term pregnancy specifically, I feel really validated that I do not experience the kind of things that Felix experiences all the time, turns out. So being pregnant was the first time in my life that I have ever been like so overstimulated that I was about to cry or scream. So I would be like mostly fine. We'd be in the grocery store, and then all of a sudden I would be like so hot I needed to take my clothes off. I needed to stand outside or I was going to punch someone. I have never been so close to quite literally just like screaming at a stranger than when I was like in my 3rd trimester. Like everything, a man who was wearing too squeaky of shoes.
We would get in the car.
I would be like, put him to death. We would
get in the car and you'd be like, every man talks too loud. It's like, I'll kill them, baby.
That's so true. Yeah, or I would just be in the car and like, I know it's like a joke on TV or whatever, but like it was quite literally, I have never been like, I spent so long like all day waiting to eat this food and then I'd get home and it just like didn't taste quite right and I would just like sob. Everything, like the stakes were so high for everything. And also, I don't know if you know this, but everyone in the world is actually very annoying. And I did not realize that until I was about 28 weeks pregnant. So every person I know who's pregnant, I'm like, how are you? Do you want me to kill anyone? I will.
Yeah.
It's just so... And I tell you what, though, I was a little worried it would happen forever. And I would say, like, within the 6 weeks of postpartum, it's so nice to not be like, all my clothes hurt. I have to get out of them.
I would say, like, 5% of the time that you were crying while you were pregnant, it was... maybe 10% of the time you were crying while you were pregnant, you were like, am I going to be like this always now? And I was like...
I was so afraid.
I was much nicer than this, but I was like, girl, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, listen, this is new for you.
Yeah.
So if it is, we'll get used to it. Like, it'll be different and we'll have... But yeah, it's never in our relationship ever has it been us in a grocery store and Morgan's had to go to the car to relax and I've had to finish checking out. Like, it's always the opposite.
Yeah.
Like, it's always, I'm like, I can't be in here. And now we have to go grocery shopping by ourselves.
Yeah, and I love grocery shopping. I'm back to loving grocery shopping, which is great.
That was the other thing. She kept on crying about how much she hated grocery shopping.
It was also like, something that I told my therapist is I was like, I mentally prepared for everything to change after the baby was born. I did not mentally prepare for everything to change while I was like pregnant. And that is what happened. Like so quickly in my pregnancy, I was just so tired and so irritable. And that's just like not normally who I am. I'm a normally very peppy, very hot, sexy person. So it was very hard.
If you have a pregnant person in your life who maybe they're only a little annoying to you normally and they're like super obnoxious to be around right now, I would say take some space from them.
Yeah.
And give them, the person said trying to be graceful, which is so fucking funny. You're being really brave about it. But yeah, I would say support them from afar in the ways that you can support them.
Here's what you can do. Be like, did you need water? How about I go do that chore for you by myself and you stay here? Because then they'll be happier staying home.
If you have money to give them DoorDash money.
If you have money to give them DoorDash money. I was like, I didn't anticipate things changing so quickly. And that was really hard because as an extrovert, and to me, like defining extrovert is like I genuinely get energy from spending time with other people. So like being unable to do that because I was just so tired and so irritated at everyone was really hard because I was like, if I am not type A, go, never takes a nap girl who's always doing something, like who am I?
Yeah.
This is like how I define myself.
Yeah.
And that was really hard.
You had this like crisis of self.
I am so glad it didn't stick around.
Which is so,
it has been hard because we can't do as much with the baby.
But I feel like typically people have this like crisis like after they've been a parent for like a period of time, yes. Or like during postpartum, they're like, everything about my life is different. It's so scary to me. This is so stressful. And you really had that like while pregnant.
It was so hard. I was just like, am I never going to be...
It was not fun.
No.
It was bad vibes.
And it luckily, and again, it's different for everyone. So maybe with the second one, it won't be like this, but no, I feel like I'm back to being extroverted. I get like so excited when someone's coming over.
Yeah. You didn't want to go anywhere.
I didn't know.
To come over. You didn't want... And I was like, this is what nesting is. And you were like, it's not supposed to be like this. I'm different. And I was like, so true, girl.
Yeah.
You tell them.
It was hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was hard. Anyway. Yeah, I'm sorry. It sounds like she's kind of being a bitch, but she has every right, it turns out.
Yeah.
So. Were there any awkward feelings or moments when the donor met Baby Goof?
No. Something that I think is important to say is that it's not that I didn't think there would be no awkward moments. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that there was a tiny part of me as the person who genetically, like, the baby is not half my DNA. Mm-hmm. I think that there was, I don't know, I had a little bit of anxiety about it. Like, a tiny bit of, like, oh, like, maybe I'm not going to, like, feel this immediate pull to him.
Yeah.
Like maybe it'll which I think is very normal no matter what the circumstances are.
I would say
parents. And I was like, and maybe this person who has previously talked about like not wanting to have kids and like being very like non-paternal, like maybe he will have that pull and like maybe that's something that would be weird. And I didn't think it was something that would be, if I thought it was something that could potentially be so detrimental, then like we just wouldn't have done things this way.
Yeah.
And I thought that maybe it would be something that could possibly be enough that like maybe me and the donor should like have a therapy session about it together if that was going to be the case. Not the case at all. So
no, that's what I was going to say.
Totally a non-issue, like not even vaguely like not.
It's just really funny because we talked to each other when the baby was probably like 2.5 or 3 months old.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to say something that like I don't think will hurt your feelings, but like I do want to talk about it. And I was like, I was afraid. I was a little afraid that the baby would get here and I wouldn't feel like you, I don't know, I guess the same way, but as the person who gave birth to the baby, I was like, I felt like it was going to be so obvious that like I was way more connected to the baby than you. And
I think that happens even when it's two people who both
made the baby together.
Yeah.
Like with both of their ingredients.
Yeah.
And it was so not true. Like from the minute that like they brought him over and I was like on the C-section table, it was like so obvious that it was like the three of us.
Yeah.
And it, so like there awkward moments, no. Like awkward feelings, I guess, yes, but not from him, just from us. 'Cause like we were worried about it. And maybe he was worried about it and he never mentioned it.
I wasn't worried about it enough to like have a conversation.
No, we didn't talk about it.
I wouldn't even consider it like an awkward feeling. I think, and I talked about it a little bit in therapy before, just being like, oh, like I don't know, I had some worries. That
it's the unknown,
because also people in our life know that the baby has a known donor and they know who that donor is.
And the baby will know in case that hasn't been cleared.
In case that's not very, very obvious.
It's just not to the internet known.
There was a concern that people who know us in real life who are in our circles would be like, oh my God, the baby looks just like the donor. And I would say that hasn't really happened. The context in which that's happened have either been really, really sweet or kind of like inconsequential. We have this one picture of him actually that was taken by our friend Ash, who's a photographer, during our like frog and toad photo shoot where he's dressed up as a toadstool. Because there's like this moment like right as he like starts to smile where he looks a lot like the donor.
It's just funny because he really doesn't look like
it's so funny because like it's a picture of our baby where if that wasn't
it's like he's doing an impression of the donor.
If that wasn't a face that I had like recognized in the baby before, I think I would be like, that's so crazy that doesn't even look like him.
Yeah.
So it's just like this one perfect moment. It was really cute. I sent that picture to the donor, like texted him, was like, oh my God, this is so cute. This is like a picture where he like looks so much like you, like thought it was very sweet, blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, oh, like that's really cool. Thanks.
Yeah,
like,
man.
Cool. It's been wholesome and vibey and cool. And I have to say, as people who went into doing this on purpose and are going to do it again and have the same donor, I think that just because there was a worry of it maybe being a little bit weird or maybe us needing to have further conversations or like set further boundaries around things, I would say like I was comfortable with that being the case also.
Yeah, it was worth it.
Because to me, it's so much more for our family. I cannot speak to other people's families. I have no idea what's going on in your family. But for us, very worth it to have our baby's full medical history, for our donor to not be somebody who's like a mysterious person.
No, like the baby will know him his whole life.
Yes. They can ask that person questions.
Yeah.
Have that person.
They get to have like their own bond. We also have picked like a donor day because like Felix is getting Father's Day, I'm getting Mother's Day, but like we do want to celebrate this person who like we wouldn't have been able to create a family without, even though he is not a parent.
Yeah.
So we've like picked a day essentially that we're calling like donor day where we'll like get him a little present and like hang out with him and
get
be
ice
like
cream or something.
Thanks. Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Any advice to queers starting baby making? Yes. Number 1, look into all of the laws in your state.
Yeah.
Oregon has a lot of protections like just kind of built in for queer couples, which is really great. We are still
families especially.
Yeah, we are still looking into getting second parent adoption just in case we're ever like traveling, or it's just good to have as many protections in place as you can. What's really nice about Oregon is Felix is like the father on the birth certificate.
The birth certificate does not like do parentage. Like parentage is decided by lots of things, which is why we have to do second parent adoption. If you're someone who's either not in queer spaces or you like don't like know about queer TTC as much, it's like the person who's not the biological contributor to the baby has to adopt them. It's goofy. I don't know what they could do. It would have to be, I don't know. I don't know what a better thing would be. It is the thing that we're doing. It's like in the vicinity of $2,000.
Yeah, if we never left Oregon, I don't know if we'd have to do it.
I think we would just in case.
But it's better to do it just in case, because you don't know what the future holds.
Yeah.
What if we had to move to like Arizona?
Also, just like if one of us dies, like it's just like
it's just good to have more stuff in place.
Yeah.
But we are already legally married. Like we, it's very well documented that we had this baby on purpose, so that's really nice. If you have the money to pay, like, to meet with a lawyer just for like an hour and a half, so if like they know all the legal jargon to be like, here's what I would recommend you doing, look into that. Definitely you want to do as much as you can research wise to just know what you're going to be expecting.
There's no stupid question, but also it's not going to hurt you to know all of the information in the world. It could a little bit hurt your brain, I guess, what I mean. But I also mean, like, you don't need to be able to give, like, a 10-page essay on any of these things that you're about to do. And also, I knew so little about being, like, the parent of, like, a newborn. Like, almost nothing. And I don't think that that's irresponsible, because I think it's stuff that
we live in the future. You get to Google stuff.
You figure out as you go. I'm on that like science-based parenting Reddit page. Love it. Huge fan of that. Also there's like a new parents Reddit that's very cool. You're gonna be okay. If researching things makes you feel better, do it. If it starts to make you feel worse, take a step back. If you've gotten into a point of research where it's so complicated, you're like, I think I have to talk to a scientist about this. Don't. Take a step back. And then also, if you have other queer friends, spend time around them to remember that as you sort of dip your toe into these weird heteronormative places that are going to be kind of unhinged and cuckoo bananas, if there are other trans and queer people you can be talking to be like, isn't this crazy?
Curious how you're going to introduce being non-binary to the baby.
That is such, and they said they
said from a future non-binary parent.
Yeah, what an interesting, I feel like it's already happening. I am already that. I don't know. Like,
we've talked about it with like other kids in our life.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true, but I feel like with those kids, I haven't known them since they were a baby.
Yeah.
With those kids who were like, I don't even know, 6?
Probably like 7,
6 or 7 when we first had and we're like, one, they were not that interested.
No, they really didn't think it was that interesting. They had also already asked their parents.
Yeah. Also, I'm someone who's like looked this gay and worked in public service jobs, so a lot of the times I've had kids with a parent in the very blue state of Oregon be like, are you a boy or a girl? Like literally, and me be like, oh, neither. And then the kid be like, oh, and I was like, yeah. And
kids think everything is interesting.
Cool. They're like
I mean, like,
but it becomes
enough
uninteresting
to ask,
to
but
them.
then yes, exactly. They get bored quickly. Also,
like that was kind of like it. And then literally they were like, what are you sweeping? Like that was what it was. Nice.
Yeah.
So, with our baby, I feel like one, we are using he, him pronouns for our baby that was assigned male at birth for a number of reasons. The main one being it's a placeholder pronoun. I feel weird assigning they, them as a placeholder pronoun just personally because like that's my chosen pronoun and like he's just the most likely to continue to use he, him pronouns, but it is functionally
it's
a
also
placeholder pronoun.
What's nice about our situation specifically is our baby will know so many people who were assigned different things at birth than what they are now in a bunch of different directions.
Yeah, like all kinds of different gender expressions, all kinds of different like fashion expressions.
So like I feel we had a lot of conversations obviously about what we were gonna do, but I feel comfortable about using he, him pronouns for him right now. And then if that ever changed, I would also feel comfortable being like, good to know. Now, also, now we can adjust.
Kids, as someone who was previously a queer and trans child, who is now a queer and trans adult, I feel like for me, having these buckets of like boy and girl were kind of like, it's functionally important to know that those buckets exist. You know what I mean? It doesn't hurt that those buckets are there. That doesn't change anything about my gender. I didn't know that there was additional buckets Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think that that would have helped me as a non-binary person. But I think this kid is growing up with a parent who is outside of those buckets.
If you've never seen like any movie about parenting,
yeah,
there's always a scene where the kid's like looking through a magazine and is like, this one has a penis?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And the conversations that we have with him are just going to be like, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
We don't really have a way of knowing that.
These are strangers.
These are strangers.
You shouldn't ask strangers about their
Right. That wouldn't be cool. Introducing being non-binary to him, like I use they them pronouns and am non-binary, and I think that at the point at which he starts having enough language to be like, oh yeah, mommy's a girl, what are you? I think I'd be like,
I'm a dad.
I'm a dad. I'm your dad. I'm a person. I don't really feel like a boy or a girl. If I had to pick between the two, I would say probably closer to boy than girl. But like, people can be whatever they want to be.
There's also, they make like children's books that kind of also explain it, which is nice. Yeah, we have a couple of, but
yeah, I just have no concern about it because I feel like it's so dependent on your kid and the kind of questions they're asking, and also it's
where you live and who your kids' friends are, and it depends on a lot of things.
Yeah.
But introducing, you're already doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has being a dad unlocked any new gender feelings?
I feel like I'm empowered to wear even uglier shoes. But otherwise, I don't really think so. I have no interest in going by a parent name other than dad.
Have you always felt that way, though?
No,
right?
No.
I moved you over to the dad pool.
Yeah, I wasn't like anti-dad.
No, that's
before.
True.
I've always like worn hats that are like best dad ever since I was like,
and grandpa
15. Yeah. Yeah, before I was like, I'll just go by whatever like weird version of my name my kid says, like my teehee or my, like whatever it ended up being. I don't know. I like being on testosterone. I'm not going by dad because it's easier to go by dad. I feel like I feel comfortable enough in my gender expression that I was like, yeah, like dad's right for me. And I think that before I kind of like felt like it would be stupid to go by dad because I sounded like Minnie Mouse and had breasts. And that it's so valid to go by whatever you want to go by. It just didn't feel comfortable for me.
Yeah, and now it does. How have you found cloth diapering so far?
Love it. Huge fan. Everything in our parenting journey that we've done. Breastfeeding, pumping, cloth diapering, what we're doing is imperfect everything.
Yeah.
Imperfect whatever. So like, I don't think it would be possible for us to have started cloth diapering as new parents with a baby who was 1 day old. There's just no fucking way.
Some people must do it.
So much love and light and power to you. If that's the kind of thing. I think we might start it earlier.
I think earlier, probably not day one or probably not till the umbilical cord's gone.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's something that we're doing, like where he uses between like 7 and like 9 diapers a day, probably. And then I would say on a really good day, like 6 of those diapers are cloth diapers. And on like a not as good day, only like 1 of those diapers are cloth diapers. On a fairly regular basis, I would say it's like 4 or 5. I feel validated in not having to have bought 5 diapers for this. Also, if he changes size, it's like easier with the cloth diapers because we just have those little like snaps. If we have like an in-between thing, we haven't like bought 4s yet or whatever. Yeah, I love everything about it. I think that there are, I'm literally not in cloth diapering spaces, so maybe this isn't the case, but when it comes to like breastfeeding and like other things that are like parenting things, I feel like people sometimes are really like strict about it, and I feel like we just don't lend well to, we're like gonna be go with the flow, flexible type folks in terms of
No, it's true. It's just surprising of us.
Is it?
We're anxious people.
Oh yeah. This isn't.
But we really have been the whole pregnancy, people were like, what are your goals? Like, do you want a home birth? Do you want to da-da-da? And I was like, I know I want to be at a hospital. I know I am very interested in medication.
For cloth diaper, I know I want my baby's butt to be clean.
Right.
And for me to, in a perfect world, be buying less of something that gets thrown away.
That's also very expensive.
It's also very expensive. And also to not be spending so much of my day worrying about washing pee and poop out of things. Like, that is a lot.
Yeah.
Somebody messaged us and they were like, Oh my God, would love to hear what you guys have to say about cloth diapering. I'm like, I have a baby who's 5 weeks old and we've been cloth diapering and I'm like about ready to give it up because it's just like been so stressful.
Buy disposables.
I literally was like, baby, like I cannot. I was like, you're so brave. So much love and light. If you want to do that, go off. But like what we need in the world in terms of sustainability is everybody doing what they can. If it's not possible for you to do cloth diapering, don't do it.
Yeah.
If you don't have the time or the energy or the resources, don't. If it's something that you're interested in and you'd like to try or you'd like to do it later,
get a couple.
Get a few.
See if you're into it.
See how you feel. See what the vibes are. Like, see if it brings you joy.
There's also like, that's like part of what people are talking about with community is like speaking with other people.
Yeah.
Join a cloth diapering Facebook group.
Yeah.
See if there's something in your city where like they have a little class on it. Like,
yeah.
You know, we need way more people doing things imperfectly than just a few people doing it perfectly.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. Are you still doing sleep shifts? How long will you do that? Yes. If you're new, if you're just tuning in, our baby's about 6 months old, as we said, and the whole time just about, we have been doing like what we're calling shifts. So right now I go to sleep at 8 p.m. and I wake up at 3 a.m. and Felix sleeps from 3 a.m. to 10 a.m. So we're both getting about 7 hours of like uninterrupted bedtime. Now, it obviously takes us time to fall asleep and we wake up a few times throughout the night to like pee or whatever. So we're both ending up with like right at about 6 hours of sleep uninterrupted. When we're like on shift with the baby, which is what we call it, there is like a mattress in there.
Yeah.
So we can sleep a little bit while we're in there with
Morgan
him.
Doesn't usually. I feel
like I'm nicer if I get 6 uninterrupted hours and no other sleep than if I get 6 uninterrupted hours and then a 30-minute nap that I got woken up with by like crying or whatever.
Yeah.
I just am like,
you have the second half of the working, like his sleeping time though, so he's less likely. Like he sleeps really hard for the first part.
That's true. Yeah, he doesn't sleep as hard.
But also I am.
But I just woke up. So
I'm not a morning person. Morgan is a morning person.
Yeah.
I don't mind being up late. Morgan doesn't like being up late. So we're very well suited for like that.
But yes, we have been doing it, and I don't know when we'll stop.
I do crafts at nighttime. It's like the other thing.
I fold laundry and like do the dishes and do like get us ready for the day. Yeah. And Felix is like, I'm the opener. Felix is the closer.
Literally, that's what we're doing. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I really like it.
The only thing I really hate, sorry to brag, is that we're obsessed with each other.
Yeah.
And we obviously it means we spend less time together because like 14 hours of the day, one of us is sleeping.
It's not a strain on our relationship.
No, it just makes me sad.
It's gonna, but it is a little bit. It's like a tension. Like it's a bummer.
They're still sleeping.
We swapped it back and forth. So when I was on recovery from top surgery and couldn't pick the baby,
I would actually say this is a huge part of why it was so hard.
What?
Is that our sleeping shifts had to be switched.
Well, they had to.
They had to.
But they
had to, but I'm not a night owl anymore.
The baby is a morning person.
And the baby is a morning person.
And so it was fun because I got to see his like morning, like very excited, very chirpy.
He wakes up as if he is a princess who is looking over her kingdom.
Yes.
It's so cute.
It's so cute. Anyway, if he was to fall asleep and stay asleep for like 7 hours at a time very consistently, I would say it would make sense for us to swap back because then we could be asleep and awake at the same times. And you can conquer more as two people than you can as one person with the baby sleeping. Because he's definitely gonna like wake up and do other stuff. But until that is possible for us to be able to like sleep,
we're just both so much nicer. When we sleep more.
Yeah.
Do you follow wake windows or a schedule? I have a 4-month-old and I'm really curious about everything you do. We don't.
No.
We have I would say the things that we are consistent on is we try to come downstairs at 7 because I go to bed at 8 as often as we can so that one person can be like trying to put the baby to sleep, get him ready to sleep, bounce him, whatever. And the other person can be like doing dishes, making sure we have enough bottles, making sure we've got food. And just like anything that like needs to get done. So like if we have a friend coming over the next day, like make sure there's toilet paper, like tiny things like that. That's kind of the only really consistent thing that we do.
Yeah. We are not on we're on his schedule. And also we work from home. We don't ever like wake him up for a nap or be like, you need to go to sleep at this time because it's just frustrating to try to get a not sleepy baby to go to sleep. Like he just won't.
We have in his life, if we had somewhere we really had to be at a specific time. So we went to like a Halloween party and we really made sure he had a nap before we went. And he did. And
but even then, we didn't even have to trick him that much. Like,
no, he was already kind of tired.
Yeah.
And it's just like, we were like, haha, he really needs to nap before we go. And then I think probably when we go to Christmas Eve, we'll do the same thing and just really try to make sure he gets like a good long nap in before we go.
There are times that I would say like that we consider his like naps like more high stakes. Yeah, sometimes we're like, ha ha ha, everybody be silent, nobody wake the baby. And then other times like we'll have like friends over and it's like not a big deal. He like had a good nap earlier, like whatever. And so we're like, if he wakes up, we'll like do like a transfer where somebody else will hold him instead because the other person has to do something. And like, but sometimes it's like very high stakes where it's like, ha ha ha, he had a 25-minute morning nap and didn't sleep well last night, so we're really making sure that like everything is set up for him.
We'll like turn off all the lights and like, and we don't even always do that when he naps.
No,
we want to make it to where like as he continues to get bigger, hopefully he'll be able to nap like kind of anywhere. So the only time we try to like turn everything off and everyone shut the fuck up is like when it's really high stakes. How do you stay kind and gentle when you're frustrated?
Morgan's better at it than I am. I feel like it's easy for me to be kind and gentle to the baby because it's never his fault.
Yeah.
But there have been times where I'm like, you have to hold the baby right now because I have to go scream into a pillow.
Felix is a big fan of the angry shower.
That's true.
You never heard of this? You're angry, go take a shower.
Maybe you'll feel better.
Sometimes
you don't. Sometimes you do.
Sometimes you do. Yeah, I don't, because of my own personal trauma, I really don't get angry. That's why it was so scary to me when I got so angry all the time when I was pregnant.
Yeah.
I would say at worst I'll be like annoyed at things. I was like pretty annoyed when Felix was recovering from top surgery. I wouldn't feel like I was like snappy or mean. I was just like, it's hard being someone who was raised by a pull yourself up from your bootstraps family. I feel like when I'm under my best circumstances, I'm like, silly advice. Everyone needs grace. But having made myself, no one else made me, I'd like to be clear, but having made myself work so hard after having a C-section and being pregnant for 9 months, and then Felix being like, I need to prioritize rest when they're right, was hard. Which isn't fair, but that was hard. Mm-hmm. Which is why I was like, the thing I would change next time is I would rest more, because like Felix has been right the whole time, and I should have been resting more, but it was hard.
I think it was hard. Also, I don't think that we are in general passive aggressive. I think the closest you got to passive aggressive was me being like, okay, and I have to take a nap now because I had major surgery. And you'd be like, haha, do you? Like, and it wasn't even like you were being shitty. It was just like in the tone also, and the way you were responding and the way we were talking to each other. Like, it was just, you would be like, okay, but like the baby needs blah, 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 blah. And I was like, right.
And I need to sleep.
And if I don't sleep, I won't heal quickly, and then I won't be able to help later.
No, you were right.
And it was, you know,
we weren't yelling at each other or anything, but it was also,
it was hard.
It was much harder for me to ask for help than I thought it would be.
Yes.
And I have gotten much better about it.
Yes.
Similar to me talking earlier about losing my identity, I've always really prided myself on being like Superwoman, who was always capable of being in like 32 clubs and being the president of 6 of them and having 2 jobs and da-da-da-da. And now that we're 6 months out, I do still feel like I'm that girl. Don't get me wrong. But being married to a very sweet person who really loves to nap.
A slug.
You
married a slug.
I'm also learning to be like, I really don't want to work today. And Felix will be like, we literally work for ourselves. Don't work today. Sorry. So to go back to how to stay kind and gentle.
Morgan's naturally kind and gentle. I'm naturally kind of a bitch. And so what I do is I remove myself from the situation until I can be kind and gentle.
Yeah.
And if you're not able to remove yourself, just don't talk for as long as you can.
I would say this isn't necessarily advice on how to be kind and gentle, but when you can't be kind and gentle, if you can develop any sort of like shorthand, this is advice we used to give people about relationships all the time.
Yeah.
But just if you want to just pick a word that's like, I'm not mad at you, I am just like frustrated and I just need everyone to be quiet for a minute.
Yeah. Also
just like the typical things, take a deep breath. Something that people say to you all the time, they will say it to you in the hospital, is nothing's gonna hurt your baby if you just put the baby down in the bassinet and walk away.
Yeah.
For 5-10 minutes. That even if the baby's screaming, they are safe.
Yeah.
They will be okay if you need to walk away for 5 or 10 minutes just to like cry and collect yourself and
it's better for you to do that.
It is better for you to do that than to just be stressed out at the baby.
It is always okay for you to prioritize something that is going to make you be a better parent or like allow you to be a better parent.
Also, you have to ask for help.
Yes. You really have to.
Unfortunately, hey, bad news.
Unfortunately, you have to do that.
You cannot do it by yourself all the time.
No.
Do whatever you can. If you really were into Dragon Ball Z, get back into Dragon Ball Z. Do anything you can that, like...
I love when you pick something that you have absolutely no knowledge of.
I like to be a woman of the people.
The people love Dragon Ball Z. Sound off in the comments if you love Dragon Ball Z.
Over 9,000. Over 3,000. That's the Dragon Ball Z voice.
It is. I don't know that, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't know that our primarily gay...
Sound off in the comments if you love Dragon Ball Z. They're gonna be I can hear them typing now.
The Dragon Ball Z stands.
The Dragon Ball Z stands. They're in the comments. Are there any kids movies or shows that hit different now? Okay. I would like to say not kids movies, but if you guys haven't watched Modern Family, I can't get through an episode without crying, because similar to Scrubs and similar to all of my favorite sitcoms, they like each end with like one person doing a little monologue that's like a little button. And I can't sit through those without tearing up. It doesn't matter which character it is. It doesn't matter what they're saying. It's always something about how, like, at the end of the day, all you have is your family. It's such a good show. Anyway.
You're feeling very normal.
I'm feeling really normal about it. It's such a good show. It has not aged perfectly. But I started watching it when our baby was, like, 2 months old. And I don't know if you can imprint on a TV show, but that's what happened.
Speaking of Modern Family, not about things that hit different. I feel like all kids, anything where like there's a child that's sad or a parent that's dead, I have big feelings.
Pinocchio, don't watch that movie. Horrible.
You're talking about the Guillermo del Toro?
No, regular Pinocchio.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember.
Ban Pinocchio.
And
I will be shooting Pinocchio.
And we will be putting Pinocchio in the fireplace.
Death to Pinocchio. Oh my God, I got so emotional. I think it's because the election results came out and like a number of other things. But we were watching Modern Family, and I am just stupid, so keep that in mind. But I forgot like when Modern Family came out. Sorry, now I'm choking on my beverage. And so we're watching it, and Mitch keeps on being like, yeah, my boyfriend, about Cam, like 3 different times.
Yeah.
He'd be like, oh, my boyfriend. And I literally, like, as a joke, confused, was like, oh my God, that's so funny. Like, why are they boyfriends? Like, why aren't they married? That's so weird. And I think it was Morgan or my dad or somebody was like, it wasn't legal yet. And it, like, gutted me. Like, it hurt my heart.
Yeah.
So much. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
They literally couldn't be married. That's insane.
Sorry,
anyway, that was all.
About Modern Family. It's such a good show. It doesn't age that well, okay? And I'm sorry I'm crying about a show that has a lot of fatphobic and racist jokes still in it, but...
The parts that aren't fatphobic and racist
are
very heartwarming.
Are really good.
Okay.
Do you still have your whiteboard system? Sorry, this is a big shift. Do you still have your whiteboard system? We do.
Yeah.
We do. It's gotten much smaller now. One whiteboard is like the kind of food that we have in the freezer and the fridge.
Yeah.
So that we don't keep opening the fridge and being like, what am I going to eat? And now we have that, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
We still open the fridge.
The other one is like last time people showered, last time we've clipped the baby's nails.
Last time he got a bath, and then when the formula.
And sometimes we forget to like update it. Pretty much the formula, because it has to get updated every day, is like the most updated one. And sometimes we'll be like, oh shit, baby took a bath yesterday. I gotta write that on the whiteboard. But it's good. It's nice.
Yeah, I think we'll continue to use it less and less as things go on. But right now, we're still using it a good amount. Is there any media, toy, whatever you're trying to avoid as the baby gets older?
Couple. Cocomelon.
Cocomelon is illegal in our home.
I was a nanny for like 2 months. It's a whole journey. So much to talk about. I didn't stop being a nanny because of that part of it.
Because of Cocomelon.
Not because of Cocomelon, that's for sure. No to Cocomelon. No to anything on the internet, and also iPads. I have a lot of feelings about iPads. I think it's a very nuanced conversation. We are trying to make it so that our baby doesn't know about small screens, but we're not super worried about like big screens. And I think that will change as he's like someone who like wants to be watching TV right now with like things being on in the background and it's like stuff that we're watching. Like I'm really not concerned about it. Other people are concerned about it. That's fine if you're concerned about it. We have a difference of opinion and that's okay. I think just like for us as people who are on the big bad internet all the time, and it's just it's not the same as when we were kids.
It's not nice.
And it wasn't nice when we were kids.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I can imagine trying to create like a safe place for this beautiful little brain that we're like nurturing and caring for, while also giving that person access to like alt-right pipelines that are so easy to fall into, and like YouTube really freaks me out. And it's not that like the baby will never watch YouTube. It's that like I want us to be doing those things as a family. We're bringing back like the family computer.
That's what I was gonna say.
Area.
Like I think that I still fell into like kind of scary places of the internet, but much less so than some of my peers, because we had like family computer room for so long.
Yeah.
So like anything you were looking at, like everybody could see basically at any time.
Yeah. He's not gonna have a phone that has like internet access until he's maybe like 16 years old.
I hope, and I think it's gonna maybe become more normal. I think a lot of people our age are talking about how a lot of things happen to us as kids on the internet.
We're not cool.
That we're not cool. And so like we're cutting back on letting kids just like have smartphones.
And then also we're not gonna let them have a smart TV. That's part of the reason why we're like building up our like VHS. I think we're gonna have them have like a big chunky TV.
I think when he is interested in having a TV in his room to like have quiet time or go to bed or whatever, we've been on the hunt for a TV that has like VHS and DVD capabilities.
Yeah.
That we might also connect like a Blu-ray player to.
Yeah.
So that he can like watch things, but like it won't have access to the internet.
I would say that I take like but we take internet safety as seriously as we take like sleepover safety.
Yeah.
Which I think is something else
and
that
like
parents
vaccines.
are talking about. Yes. Yeah. Actually, vaccines is probably the thing that it feels most similar to.
It is like
me,
very important to us.
in terms of that's sort of the opposite though, because we're like, yeah, all the vaccines you have to get them, and for the internet we're like, ha ha ha, no. There's a lot that could be said for it. We're not ever trying to make people like feel shitty. So if you're making a different decision than we are, that is your own decision. It's none of my business. I also don't think that all the decisions we make are all the same decisions everybody else should make, or that necessarily
in 30 years we might be like, we should have done something different.
We might feel different in 3 years. Like I don't know, but for what I can say right now is that that's something that is really, really important to me.
Yeah. Fellow air quality cautious baby parent, how are you keeping Grow Bag as safe as possible?
Grow Bag is cute. I think this person's saying air quality, talking specifically about COVID.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he just doesn't go anywhere right now, is what's happening. And then,
I mean, he does. So we've only taken him, if we've gone to eat somewhere, which has only been, I think, twice his whole life.
Yeah.
It is like at 3 p.m. when it's not lunch, it's not dinner.
Yeah.
It's only like 2 old people in the other side of the restaurant. And then
he doesn't go grocery shopping with us.
We've taken him to Sunny's house once,
which is a
to get a cute picture, and it's like everyone wears masks. He wasn't because he was a baby, but everyone else was wearing masks.
We baby wear him to keep our like air close to like him.
And then we've taken him to the grocery store once because we had to.
Yeah.
We
honestly, I think we could have not.
That's true. Someone could have stayed.
It was like a vibe check, and then we were like, God, we're never doing that again.
Yeah.
I think that anything that you do as a parent is going to have, you're doing like risk assessment constantly.
Every minute of every day.
I don't think that someone is a bad person or irresponsible because their baby got RSV or COVID or pneumonia or the flu, or like there's just like so many things.
We are able to be really strict because we work from home, we work for ourselves.
If our kid was at daycare, and so many people need to have their kid be at daycare, their kid is just like gonna be constantly sick for the next like 2 months.
It's also, it is important for like kids younger than 5 to get those little colds. Like it is important to build an immune system. So it's not our plan to keep him home for 5 years.
No.
But while he's so small and we're able to, we are keeping him home quite a bit.
Yes.
And he also, he likes it here.
We also, if we're like going and doing like an outing, we're sort of prioritizing like outdoor big breathy outings. So like, you know, the pumpkin patch is outside, Halloween Town is outside, we're gonna go to Christmas Storybook Land.
We try to go on like weekdays to those things if we can.
Yes, weekdays in the morning, because we're able to do that. And then also like Christmas Storybook Land is this like huge, it's not exactly open air, like it's sort of like this, it's like at the fairgrounds, like this big like barn kind of thing that happens. So we're going to that.
Zoo Lights is outside.
Zoo Lights is outside.
The other Christmas things we're doing, 2 of them are like drive-thrus.
Yeah, the one of them is now combined with Storybook Land.
That's right. The other one's a drive-thru.
But the other one's a drive-thru. And I think it's just, I don't know, like I the decisions that we are making are the only ones that we can make. And I have seen other people talk about like being COVID safe with their baby while like being on public transit and like other things because like they don't have a car or like other circumstances. I don't think that's wild of people. I also think that it's something that you could talk to your pediatrician about.
And you can also change your mind at any time. If you're like, I'm feeling brave, I'm going to try this thing, and then you go there and there's too many people and you didn't like it and you don't want to, then don't go again. That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to go to the doctor, but there are very few places you really have to take the baby.
I think that also as a community of people on the internet together, it's important to like learn and grow and also know that people can change their minds and that that's okay. So, and I also think that people who, and so much love and light, people who don't have kids, I think have, they're a lot more comfortable being like, you taking your kid XYZ is like the most hellacious, like irresponsible thing I've ever heard about. And I just think that when you're not being told by your pediatricians, who are these people and like doctors and like people in the hospital who are set up to make sure that you and the baby have as much success as possible and that you and the baby are healthy and that like everything's going well, when those people are not saying you need to do this X, Y, and Z, otherwise you're fucked, like, I don't know, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I am always gonna take the advice of a doctor who has seen my baby every other month since the day that he was born over the advice of a stranger who's never met me. Yes. And I think that's what everyone should be doing.
And obviously you have to do the risk assessment of like, is that a safe person who's the pediatrician? Is that someone who knows? It's just, I think, the advice I can give is like, if you care and you are trying, you are a good parent. Yeah.
Just because you're making a different decision than other people doesn't make you...
Or different than us or whatever.
Yeah, overly protective or irresponsible or like you're just doing how you feel is best. And maybe, similar to the internet or anything else, maybe you'll feel differently in 3 years.
Yeah.
Maybe you won't.
And to be clear, like, I really do think that you should vaccinate your children.
Oh, yes. I'm so sorry.
just so we're clear. Yeah. That one we definitely think. That's one of the ones where the doctors are like, for the love of God, please do this. But do you see how there are some things doctors do like that and other things, those same doctors.
They're like, here's a personal.
They're not like, don't ever go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But that is a decision that we're making and we're not cuckoo bananas for making it and we wouldn't judge you for not making it. And please vaccinate your children. Please.
Do you ever miss childless life ever?
No. Next question. Short answer, no. Long answer, no.
The long answer still no. Yeah, we made the right decision. I don't know how to tell you this. We're obsessed with him.
Yeah.
Everything he does, we're obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Every moment. I wish he was here right now.
I miss sleeping, but I don't miss...
That's it though, really, honestly.
I'm also really excited for like things in the future. So like I have this like very specific memory like of us playing Breath of the Wild while you were pregnant. Do you remember?
Oh my God. I was so morning sick.
Yeah.
At night, but yeah.
Yeah. With like the lights on. It was just like, it was this really sweet moment. And then thinking like, oh, I get to play Zelda games with our kid.
Yeah.
In the next couple of years. So like I'm excited for future moments.
Yeah.
But I'm not like...
I'm never like, man.
Damn.
I don't really ever miss...
Damn, I sure wish there was no baby here. I'm sick of this guy.
This guy.
This guy.
What parenting qualities have surprised you from each other? I would say... What?
I'm just so scared of what you're going to say. Nothing about Morgan as a parent has surprised me because she is an incredible mother and I just knew that she was going to be.
Okay.
What do you think I was going to say?
I don't know.
That I'm annoying?
What?
I don't know. I'm scared.
No. I would say it has really surprised me how kind you've been able to be while being damp.
Yeah.
That has been surprising to me.
It has also surprised me.
Also, I was very concerned about your messy levels. And I thought they would get much worse. And I would say overall they've actually gotten better.
I've really stepped it up.
You've really stepped it up.
Yeah.
When we do an end of the night clean. Yeah. That has surprised me. Do you miss spending more time together, assuming you spend less time together?
Yes.
Yes. But like we both never shut up.
Yeah.
So I do feel like you get all the information. I'm just like, I wish you were here to witness this. Earlier today the baby said duh for the first time ever, and it was just like him babbling, so like he wasn't trying to say anything, but I was like, the world stopped to me because I was like, say more. He didn't, but I was like, when he says dada for the first time, I'm gonna scream and I'll wake you up probably.
Yeah, we don't ever shut up, and so I feel like now it's kind of fun. It's sort of like we like meet up and be like, hey girl, what have you been up to, girl? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Here's what I did.
And
we don't always get to do that. So like that part is still that's fun.
Yeah.
And we didn't have that before. But I would rather be spending more time with
I wish we were spending the time together with the interesting things that are happening, but
I'm very introverted, so I do kind of like to have some like by myself time.
That's true.
And because I'm the night shift with the baby, I essentially end up having time to myself because he's sleeping while I'm like doing crafting or like whatever.
Yeah. You get to have thoughts.
Yeah. By myself thoughts.
When are you planning on having baby number 2? Ideally, I think we're going to start trying probably after he's at least 2. And maybe longer.
It could take a long time.
Or I could also see us a year from now being like, here's what I'm thinking. I think it depends on a couple things. I think it depends on...
If for some reason the donor was like, I have intentions to travel the world for the year of 2027, then I think we would be like, oh shit, okay, let's either wait or get some stuff done beforehand or whatever.
Yeah, I think the other thing is like what if we go on another fertility journey, and then also what if we don't? So it's like...
Yeah, what if it's like first thing?
Yeah.
We don't know.
We don't know. Depends on how the next couple of years
I don't know if we'll tell you guys when we start trying.
I definitely don't think we'll start at first telling anyone that we're trying. Yeah. What age is a good one for the first time at Disney? I would say at least them being able to talk to you at least a little bit. And then also definitely them eating like people food. Even if they need like a bottle to go to bed at night, I would say that's the bare minimum, and that depends on where you're coming from.
I don't have enough information to answer this question. How high are your stakes?
That's true.
If you're trying to do a full-blown Disney-ass vacation, I would say like the youngest you could bring a kid and have them like party rock from morning till night in the parks. 10 and a half.
No, I would say you can take a nap in the parks for sure as a baby. So I would say old enough to only have one nap.
If you're trying to like accomplish things.
If you're trying to accomplish things.
If you're trying to ride all the rides that you want to, if you're trying to, whatever, the younger you take a kid,
the less you're getting.
The more you have to give up. So if you are comfortable paying $2,000 for your family of 3.
That is so cheap.
Just for tickets.
Oh, yeah.
Plus all the other things.
Plus a hotel or a flight.
Hotel and food, blah, 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 whatever. If you're comfortable paying, and maybe you this is not a judgment call at all, because I think we would happily take our baby much younger. But if you're somebody who lives in Southern California and you are just gonna like take your baby for their first haircut for the day and like chill out on Main Street, or if you have been a lot, or if you if you're, I have a lot of strong feelings.
Go ahead.
I'm going to talk about it. California or world,
that's fine.
Hugely different. Yeah. Disneyland, which is in California, it's very dry heat. And Florida's a lot more air conditioned and the heat is a lot wetter, so it will trick you and you'll get so dehydrated. I personally, for my comfort level and for like literally dehydration fears, would not be comfortable taking a baby to Florida, to Disney World. I would say, separately from all of the legislative things that are going on and how it's very stressful to be a parent and trans person.
I think because we lived in Disney World.
A year.
Oh, yeah, no. I would say because we lived in Disney World, I would feel comfortable taking almost 2-year-old to Disney World, and that's probably the absolute youngest I would take them to World.
Yes.
For so many reasons.
That's how I feel.
And we wouldn't get that much done.
I don't think you're cuckoo. No. I don't think you're cuckoo bananas if you take a kid younger for a variety of reasons. I think something to keep in mind is that like it is literally dangerous weather to be there as a young person. Please drink water and also have your kid drinking water and milk and whatever else they need.
Hydrating.
Hydrate.
Felix, have you had any autism-specific challenges with being a new parent?
Yes, all of it. Everything. Constantly.
I would say yes, at first, especially because, like, you're getting used to getting spit up on all the time. And you, Felix, do not like to be damp, as we've discussed.
Right.
And then I would also say, like, you don't make the rules about when you get to do things as much.
Yeah.
So it's much harder for you to have, like, your schedule, your routine, da-da-da-da.
I would say for me, when we first brought him home, I was changing my shirt every 15 minutes because of the dampness. And now I've just kind of, like, gotten used to sort of just, like, being a little swamp shirt person.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Your irritation levels are so high when you haven't showered in about 36 hours.
Yeah, it's crucial that I shower.
Yeah, I would say when you're upset that he is so loud, it's not that you're like, he's so loud I'm gonna go crazy. It's that you feel so bad for him.
It's that I'm stressed out and I feel like nobody else is taking it as seriously as me and the baby are taking it, that he's upset. Like, I'm like, okay, pull over the car.
Felix thinks everyone else has a gun pointed at the baby.
That's how it feels sometimes.
I'm
like, please, he's small.
My son! He's tiny! Someone said, I'm wrestling with this. How do you feel about the ethics of raising a kid today?
I got a lot of feelings about this. If people are saying you shouldn't have children because it's killing the earth or because everything is bad, what they're doing is eco-fascism and eugenics. There's a lot of people who can explain that to you. I am not smart enough to, like, go down the path of, like, here's why this is a problem. But if they're saying, like, poor people shouldn't have children, if they're saying that, like, all of this, the world, everybody at some point has always been like, maybe we shouldn't have kids because things are stressful. Also, if the only people who are, like, worried about the state of the world and want the world to get better are the ones who are like, let's not have kids, then the only people having kids are the ones who are like, no, everything's great and fine and we love who's the president and all of this is going good. Some people love to be like, it's inherently selfish to have children, and I've seen people explain it smarter and better than I can. I don't think it's inherently selfish. Both of us have been people who have at some point not wanted to be here anymore.
Yeah.
And I would so much rather experience the joy of being here than not be here or have never existed.
Yeah.
So I feel as if having a child, unfortunately, is kind of like it's like a present to that kid, as well as bringing a lot of joy and being a present to us. And all we can do is sort of be like a steward for this tiny person into the world to experience it as safely and as well as possible.
There are so many horrors in the world.
Yeah.
There are also so many joys.
There will never not be horrors.
There will never not be
joys.
There
will never not be joys.
There are so many good things about the world. There are lots of good people. There's lots of good in the world.
Yes.
And I think that will always be true, even when things are hard and scary. It was really important to us, and it continues to be important to us, and I have never once for a second thought that we made a mistake.
Yeah.
How do y'all handle overstimulation and being touched out as parents?
I take a shower.
Yeah. I talked about this in the decluttering vlog, but I genuinely love cleaning, which has really worked out in our relationship, because if I'm touched out, I'll be like, can you please hold him and I'm going to fold laundry? Like, I enjoy it. I feel like I'm making order out of chaos. That's nice.
The productive thing that I do when I am touched out is take a shower, because I'm like, and now I'm clean.
For 6 minutes.
For 6 whole minutes.
Yeah. Have or will Morgan's parents meet the baby? I think something that Felix is really good at, despite it being hard, is they usually leave these things up to me, as I'm the one who has the strained relationship with my parents. Second, I would say this, the other person who's really involved in these decisions is our therapist. To answer your question, I would say right now the answer is just basically no. There's no reason that he would meet them anytime soon at all. We don't have any plans to go to Alabama because it's too expensive to fly there. It is very important to me that we go there a lot as he grows up, because I love the South. Like, I love so many things about my hometown so much. And I really want him to, like, know, like, I went to the beach every weekend, you know, like, as a kid, and I'm really excited to take him there for, like, some summers and things like that. I currently am low contact with my dad. I'm still no contact with my mom. I don't feel like that will change anytime soon. The way that I'm viewing it right now is like, our therapist all the time is like, there's no reason to cross a bridge you're not at.
That's the thing I have the most problem with.
And it's just true. Like,
I'm already fighting.
You have your boxing gloves on. And that is what I would say about it at this time.
I'm not allowed to talk about it.
No. I think...
From myself. I've put the rule on myself. Because I don't have anything nice to say. Not against Morgan. Morgan's fine. We're married even.
We know each other.
We're familiar.
Do you think you'll always share things about Gonzo, or do you think you'll get even more private over time?
More private over time.
I think, yeah. We don't really talk a lot about him in specific circumstances in general. We're always going to still have something to say.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to pretend he doesn't exist.
Yeah, I don't think that he'll be like talking much in videos, if at all.
No, every now and then I do think as he gets older, he'll be sitting in the same room as me as I'm streaming.
We'll not be sharing medical stuff about him.
Yeah. We've talked about him having vaccines, and that is less about his medical history and more about everyone should be getting vaccines.
Yeah. I think things that can be broadly applied to any child.
Yes.
That are like non-specific. Sometimes like, but even like things that are kind of like developmental things. Like now when he's a baby, I don't mind so much because it's like, it's also not like we're like, he's crawling now. Because one, he's not. But two, it's like people are...
We also normally wait a little bit before we're talking about anything specific to like our broad audience.
Yes. Yeah. His birthday will continue to be a secret. And a lot of people even know that his birthday is a secret. But we are like kind of specific about the ways in which we
talk about it.
Talk about how old he is and also...
Or like when we have an appointment or when we... Yeah. We usually don't talk about specific things at an appointment until after it's already happened. Because I don't want to be like... Oh, we're going on Friday.
Yeah, it'll keep being an ongoing conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think probably more private. But I think the things that we share about parenting will be different things because it'll be about all kinds of different things.
Yeah. Do you find it challenging switching between his real name and his internet name?
I don't think that's what they're asking.
Oh,
I think they're asking his government name and nicknames for him.
I don't think so.
Hold on. People are constantly asking, do you call the baby his actual government name or do you call the baby nicknames? He is called both, I would say fairly evenly.
Yeah.
We do use we named him his government name because we like the name.
Yeah.
Additionally to that, it's very hard to not say his government name or any of the actual nicknames that we use for him on camera or while we're filming something or typing out or like anything. Because we don't ever call him Gonzo or Green Bean or
Baby
Gilgamesh
Goof.
or like anything like that.
Anything we use on the internet.
He's never heard those out loud.
No.
And so it's kind of like sweet but also very funny and like proves to me that we're doing a good job. People will be like, oh my god, you should like make him a quilt where you like embroider like all of like the internet names that you've like called him. And it's like
he would be like, why'd you give me this quilt with random
so
words
weird
on
with
it?
all these G words. Like he'd be like, that's strange.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's not like it wouldn't be sentimental to him at all. You know what I mean? Because it's not part of his literally not part of his life.
What we are doing is he has like a work ID badge that he doesn't know about.
Yeah.
And like that's not exciting.
What we're doing is putting up layers of like curtains to hide the baby from you.
What's the most unhinged thing someone has said to you about having a baby?
People say weird shit about having a boy.
I was literally going to say that.
People say such weird
People
things.
message you things that have happened to their male family members. People message you their opinions on things that you do.
Super misogynistic, clearly without realizing it.
Yes.
They love to be like, boys are the best. Like, you'll never... Like, I have a daughter, and I basically...
And she's so annoying.
I basically want to throw her out the window. But then I had a son. It's insane.
At the hospital, someone was telling us, like, oh, I'm just so... I have a boy. I have 2 girls, actually, but I have a boy, and that boy's just so special. My daughter's, so annoying. And I was like...
Can't stand them. Weird behavior.
People like to do stuff like that a lot.
Weird.
About having a boy.
So weird.
Yeah.
And I think also like the way in which we are raising our child is very similar to regardless of
it's really not much different as to what we would have done. Yeah.
Hardly anything. He's lucky to have a lot of male what's it called? Role models in his life who are creative in the things that they do and that they wear and who are very like positive masculinity figures. So anyway, I think that is something I think about a lot. That's important.
Yeah.
That he be comfortable in who he is because feminism is good for everyone.
Yeah, it is.
Let little boys do whatever they want and cry and be cared for and you know what I mean and like be kissed on and like all of these things.
They are sweet.
They are sweet. And
let them be sweet.
Let them be sweet.
Has being content creators become more or less fun since having a baby? This is a great last question. Both. So I love that I am in like spaces that I wasn't necessarily in before where I get to see other people who are content creators who don't share their kids talk about things that like weren't necessarily relevant to me before. And so I've created like new communities with like people like Miss Frazzled or like other people who are content creators who don't share their kids. That's great. Sorry. I also love that we get to talk about being parents and like people get to share things with us. So like we're the ones who are making the content. Other people are commenting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I like that it's a new way in which we're creating community. That's really exciting.
It's fun that it's a new way to relate to people.
It's
I don't
fun.
think there's a lot of ways that your life can change in which that can happen.
It's also fun because we get to be queer content creators.
Yeah.
Who get to talk about parenting. And there's like not a ton of people doing that, especially who are not also sharing their kid so much.
Yeah.
So that part is really nice because I really like our job. We both really like our job.
Yeah.
So it's like a new. It's
also,
like we've gotten a promotion.
So like body positivity is something
Yeah.
that's like going to continue to be relevant in our parenting, but like isn't as much right now. Like there's all these things.
Yeah.
I've never been so burnt out.
That's so funny. I'm not burnt out.
Morgan's not, which is
no.
good.
I feel the opposite. Yeah, I've been like working so much and having a really good time working, and I've never felt so inspired, actually. However,
there's not enough time in the day.
There's not enough time in the day, and would you believe we have the cutest baby in the entire world?
Yeah,
and we're not sharing him, and that is the correct decision. But it's so hard. It's so hard. Every single day I'm like, what if I post this one photo of him? And I
don't be scared. We're never gonna do that.
I wouldn't say never. I do think I could see us like in 3 months being like, I have to show you this picture of him at 4 months old because he doesn't look like that anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's so cute.
He is so cute.
He's literally the cutest baby.
I literally miss him right now.
People see him and they're like, that's the most beautiful baby. And I'm like, you're so true for that.
Our doula was like, sometimes you meet a baby and that baby convinces you like, maybe I should have one more baby. And that's what your baby's like. And I'm like, he's literally, he never cries. Not never, but like he rarely cries. He's so easygoing. He's so smiley. He looks like an angel.
We call it his lament that he does. He doesn't really cry. He goes like, oh.
Yeah, he's like a little Eeyore noise. Yeah. I would say not sharing him. Like having a job where I can't clock in and go to the office and be like, did you want to see pictures from this weekend?
I think it would be really hard if we had not decided to not show him, to like not show him. Like I think anybody who is like not solidified in that decision before they have their child, like this is just like the most in love either of us have ever been. And so I think it's kind of like,
I think it's especially hard for you because not to brag, but the whole reason we had this job was because you were obsessed with me and you were like, I'm gonna make a fan page for my wife.
Yeah.
And then everyone else also was
now I'm not allowed to make a fan page for my baby because people are weirdos.
People are weirdos.
Freaking weirdos ruining everything.
Yeah.
God.
So it is both the hardest and also the easiest it's ever been.
Yeah, I'm really burnt out. I feel like
you're still working. Like you're still Felix is in charge of short form and I'm in charge of long form.
Yeah.
That's like the short version of what we're both doing.
Everything about it makes me feel tense right now. And it goes through phases where it's like that and it's not a big deal. We've got some like ad deals lined up it's great.
We have a manager. Shout out to Paige.
Yes. Hey, Paige.
Hey, Paige. Obsessed with you. Thank God we hired you.
Thank God.
Yeah, our job is really weird and amazing.
And it goes through cycles.
And
we feel differently all the time.
Yeah.
But, thanks for being here. Thanks for clicking.
No,
Okay. Like and subscribe.
Oh, don't let. Okay.
To be so bad.
You do it and I'll mouth the words. Actually, I'll do it. You mouth the words.
Okay.
Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for being here. We are CouplaGoofs on every single platform you can think of. So we're on Patreon, we're on Instagram, we're on Lemonade, we're on Pinterest. We're now on Blue Sky, which I guess is gaining in popularity. We also have a Discord if you want to join. If you like this kind of content, let us know in the comments.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. If you have any more questions, you can comment them and we will try to respond.
Tippy tap them up.
Tippy tap them up. And that's it.
Okay. Thanks.
Goodbye. Cut that out.
I'm being tickled. Do you see this tickling that's happening to me? I'm getting a top of the head tickle. I don't like it.
Who's tickling you?
I don't know. Hey.
Hello. Okay. Be peppier.
Is that not peppy? Hey.
That's what you sounded like emotionally.
I can't remember if I took my antidepressant this morning.
Now you're depressed.
But I don't want to be twice as antidepressed.
So...
Then what would I do? Buy a house? I don't even know what kind of unhinged behavior I would partake in.
You're right.
Full of juice, maybe making juice. That are like some of the things. What?
I can give him a haircut.
I hate him. You scare me. Yeah, I would say we brag about his bodily fluids more than I thought.
That's true.
We're like, yo, that poop was crazy. It like becomes no.
No. Roll it back.
We should do more normal than that. Okay.
Yeah, definitely look into that. If you have a friend whose dad is a lawyer, or some if you could afford,
or whose
like
mom is a lawyer.
That's true.
Or whose non-binary parent is a lawyer. You are so
No! I was just picking
cancel
one.
her. Internet cancel.
Or
and also dads can be pregnant, and also people with all kinds of different gender expressions can be mom or dad or map.
You said I'm not getting canceled today.
No. I don't care. Cancel me. I don't care. I think what's